Good morning and welcome to this Wednesday, April 13th edition of Keystroke Live. Thanks for coming. We figured it was about time to pass along some of the new things we have found out about the EMV devices. So this week I'm going to talk about the Verifone VX805 that processes through Vantiv or Mercury. I'm working on switching to Vantiv rather than Mercury. It's VIP, Vantiv Integrated Payments. And next week, Mike Tabor will talk about some new things with the Cayenne Genius. So remember, 10 a.m. Mountain Time every Wednesday. Tune in, same login information, and you get Mike Gebb at the beginning of each month. So I'm going to talk about a few things here that we have with the VX805. Here's the device. One is we have a new setup document as of this week. It will be part of, I believe, Build 29, the next release. And I am going to hopefully switch to Acrobat just so this pops up. This is a good resource by talking to dealers and users that were going through it. We got to reiterate kind of how it works and try to make it a little smoother for installation. So be sure to take a look at this. Remember, it starts right out there, right at the top with the Net ePay data cap software. You need version, they call it .11 or 5.11 or 5.06.11. A lot of those numbers don't change or are kind of buried like that due to PCI because you can't change the first number and they don't like you changing the second number without revalidating at all. So that's why they've tacked on that 11. I think it came out in December. But this document's gotten a little bit longer, a little bit more thorough on how you set up Net ePay and the VX805 with Keystroke. Remember, we're using Vantiv as the processor. Net ePay from DataCap is kind of the gateway software. Then we have the VX805 from Verifone, and last but not least, Keystroke. So it goes through setting up payment types, setting up gift cards, food stamps, basically everything you need to know. Next, as I get back to PowerPoint, part of this is Net ePay. You may get some instructions from Vantiv on how to do it, and they are okay, but we're a little more specific to exactly how to do it with Keystroke. So in, I believe it was January or February, they revamped the DataCap website. So there was a new link for the Net ePay that you use. And the best way to get to that is through the Keystroke Update installer. It is automatically added to your Keystroke program group. So if you go to the Windows menu and go to the Keystroke program group, you'll see the Keystroke Update installer. And this is, you can do an install or an update, but I can also select drivers. And here I've got Mercury DataCap Net ePay. Again, we're still in the process of changing all this Mercury to Vantiv. So that takes you to the website to download the Net ePay. And I'm just going to pull up the website here. And if I get to the, there it is, get to the right thing to switch to. When you click that, it takes you to this datacapepay.com website. And this is for Net ePay for Mercury. Remember, they have different versions of Net ePay for any processor. So this one is specific to Mercury. Now, we took you to this page because basically the step one, install client control, Keystroke installs that. So you don't need to do that. We are actually installing the DSI EMV US is what we're using. Down here they've got the install net ePay for Mercury, and you can download that or go to the user guide. So you just click here, download it, install it. Remember, you install that on just one computer on your network, and then all the other workstations reference that IP for their requests. The other thing I want to point out here is there is this option for user guide. That opens the Net ePay user guide, and I've got that open here. Not a whole lot here about how to install it. There's not a lot of selections. There's not a lot of choices. But this is what I wanted to point out. This is the Net ePay implementation guide, or PADSS implementation guide, that has been approved by PCI. So if I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit to their contents, and you see they have the PADSS 2.0 implementation guide. If anybody has been studying to take the PCI Qualified Integrator and Reseller, the QIR exam, there's a lot in there about the implementation guide. So when you're installing Keystroke with the Vantiv VX805, Keystroke is outside of the scope, so its implementation guide doesn't really apply. What applies is the Net ePay implementation guide, because it is what is in, they call it the CDE, cardholder data environment, and Keystroke is outside of the CDE. So I just wanted to point out, you've got the implementation guide here, so that is what you would follow to do a secure installation. Now, the good thing about Keystroke, Net ePay, and the VX805, it is encrypted, end-to-end encrypted transmissions. There's really no place anybody can get their fingers in anything. So with EMV and the VX805, you've got encryption, tokenization for security, and EMV for authentication of the cardholder. The other thing, and if I get switched back to my update installer, the other thing that you will see here on the update installer is the Verifone VX805. I'll mention this third-party drivers. If you select that, it just takes you to the Keystroke website where we've kind of got all our third-party drivers. But when you install this, you also need the Verifone VX805 driver. So you can click that, and that will go to their website. And if I go back here, and this should pop up in a second, and you should see the Verifone support website for the VX805. And the important thing here is at the bottom, the USB driver. Basically, it hasn't changed since we started in November. It's been that 1.0.0.52. Someday there might be a 54 or 61 or something. You're going to want to grab, basically it'll be on the bottom, the one with the biggest number, the latest USB drivers for the Verifone. We point you to this web page because if they do update it, you can still go get it. We're not going exactly to the driver, just so so this will work going forward. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint here. And hopefully, there I've got it, I think. Hopefully you see that with Vantiv and the Verifone VX805. There are some new settings in Net ePay. On the configuration page, you can click a button and get to some settings. I'm mostly pointing this out to say use at your own risk, or basically say don't use these. I don't have NetEPay running on this computer on our network. I do have a screenshot of it, so I am going to switch to that. And hopefully this comes up. So this is when you're in NetEPay and you do the edit settings, there is a little box down there for PSCS, and I don't have the PSCS here, and that's basically DataCap's way of configuring NetEPay, and you typically have to have all this login information that Vantiv does for you, because they do all that setup and then email you the deployment ID. But you can click into this, and there are just some things I want to point out here. This choice of go to system tray, that does work if you just run it running as an application or running in the system tray. This dial-up backup is in here, but you cannot do dial-up with EMV. So it doesn't work. It won't work. It doesn't have anything to do with keystroke or support or what kind of modem you're using. Just NetEPay and EMV, you can't do dial-up. I have been trying to ask them what this cardholder verification is and haven't heard anything. So I just wanted to point out to everyone there is that little button there they can hit, but basically don't go in there and mess with it. It's not going to do you any good yet. They may add some stuff in the future, because this has been added just in the past couple of months here. I'm going back to my PowerPoint presentation, and my last bullet there is just, hey, remember this is available from JR's POS or the Phoenix Group. JR's seems to have been pretty good and pretty responsive and a little better price. The Phoenix Group, I've never talked to a person. I've tried to call. I've only communicated with them with email, so it's been a little more difficult to do. But these devices are pretty readily available from JR's, I think a week or two out maybe right now, but it is getting better as they have been deployed for a longer time. And then I'm going to talk about running the test pin pad in Configuration Manager, just because what that does is it updates the screens on the device if you're not getting credit and debit option, if something's been changed. So it's really a healthy, it does more than just test. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that by switching into Keystroke here. And while the video is catching up, hopefully I can log on. And I am going to go to the Configuration Manager and select Hardware and Pin Pads. Now, in this pin pad, for tests to work, everything's got to be set up. And that's one of the big things we added to our installation document, that you need to have NetEPay up and running. You have to have installed the Verifone drivers and have the VX805 plugged in and turned on. And you have to have the payment type set up with the proper merchant number and IP address for where NetEPay is running. So I can select Test Pin Pad here, and it's going to go ahead and test it. COM9 is typically where it's installed. It looks for everything. Remember, it confirms that we're using this version 5.11. That's what we want to be using. That's the latest version. And then I can download EMV parameters to the device. Now what's going on here is NetEPay has downloaded information from the Vantiv DataCap mothership across the internet. I don't know exactly where that is. And then Keystroke is communicating with NetEPay and then downloading them actually to the device. So I can select yes here. It goes through downloading them to the pin pad and it gets everything updated, and you're ready to go. So this is a good thing to do. You should do it initially on every installation. You might call tech support and we might say, oh, hey, yeah, let's go run that test to make sure it's got all the latest information on it. And if I show you the VX805, it has downloaded it, and now it is reinitializing, so it's just kind of going through its little deal. And this is the VX805 card swipe on the side here, EMV slot in the front. Sorry about the holding it sideways. We will let this complete, and then I am going to just kind of give you a demonstration real quick. There, if you can see there, the pin pad test is complete. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Go into my sales manager, and oh, that's the wrong item. Let's do a simple item, golf tees. Going to select credit debit, and it asks me if that's okay. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to show you, I've got a cool little device here that, I don't know, it's hard to see. It's got a little light on it. So when I go into the near field communication, it lights up. So I know I'm broadcasting near field communication. I can pull out my phone if I get this before it times out, and I can pay with touch. And so I paid with my American Express card there, did a contactless sale with American Express, got approved, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. And cute little device. It's my membership card for ISIS. That's actually was the name of Soft Card before, and they wisely decided to change it. And I wanted to bring something else to people's attention. This is a test card I have. This is a PIN credit card, and some companies are issuing them, like Target. So it's EMV with a PIN. Now people say, well, how do I do it without having them enter the PIN? You don't. It's a EMV card. That's like saying, oh, you don't have to sign. Well, no, you have to enter your PIN because that's their authentication method. So if it is a PIN credit card, you need to enter the PIN. Now, there's also signature credit, and that was a decision the U.S. market decided to make, that you could do EMV and signature, chip and signature, or EMV and PIN, chip and PIN. In Europe, everything's chip and PIN. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sell 2 of these items this time and select my credit debit. So it's asking me, is that okay? I hit the green button. It's okay. I'm going to go ahead and insert my card. It's telling me to wait. Don't remove card. Enter PIN. Got a tricky PIN. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hit OK. Processing. And we're approved. So I select OK. And I don't know if you can hear that. It beeps a little bit until I remove the card. And Keystroke is checking. Save it. And I am good to go. And so that is information about the Verifone VX805. Just wanted to be sure we were keeping all of you up to date on what is going on. And are there any questions about what I've talked about?
Not specifically what you talked about, but I do have a couple questions. One is there a device we can add signature easily to the VX805 signature capture?
The only device is the Topaz signature capture. It's just another USB device that's just a signature window and nothing else. So you can use that. We are on supposedly the top of the list to be the first ones to test the ISC250 when it is ready. So we are anticipating that being any day now.
Okay. Another question, which you probably don't have the answer to, but I've been struggling with. I've got several multi-stores, and I can't get the VX805 to work over RDP. Have you heard anything about that?
The official answer from DataCap is that it does not work over RDP. Now, what we're not sure about is, because we have people using the Ingenico ISC 250 over RDP, and it's working fine. And so I don't know if that will work or if it's a DataCap Net ePay thing for some reason that it doesn't work over RDP. But we are trying to pressure the powers that be to figure out how to get these devices to work over RDP.
Okay. And one other point, if anyone's looking for them, I found a really good deal, well, relatively good deal on stands for the VX805. If you want to mount them to your counters, or if your clients are, you can go to beaglehardware.com, and they have a device called the FlexiPole, and you can get them in different heights, and it's adhesive mount on, mounts a glass counter or whatever, and then a clip for the VX805 so you can keep it stable and rotate it around.
Great. And that was Big O.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's let me look at it real quick. It's Beagle, BEAGLE hardware.com.
Okay, Beagle, like the dog, hardware.com.
Yep.
And if
you got it. And
the X805s, if you talk to us here, we've kind of got the exact information on ordering it, that you have to get the Mercury Vantiv encryption key and the Mercury Vantiv debit key, and I think it's RBA, I forget if it's 14 right now, and then actually it's not the RBA for Verifone, but their software version. So we've got all that information that we can get you if JR's is asking. Any other questions? Great. Well, next week we'll have Mike Tabor talk about the Genius and maybe show you there's the new line item display that should be interesting. But thanks for